What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Comment Writers. We are a Kamen Rider review podcast. Today on the show, we're going to be discussing Kamen Rider Gotchard episode 17. I'm your host, Josh Meek, the Uber Geek, and I'm joined, as always, by my good friend, Toby Tobes. How's it going, Toby?
Josh, wonderful. Like the old days of lore, or your, whatever the way that works.
Yeah.
Huge thunderstorm outside again, just like the good old days of over summer where every Monday it would rain and then the power would go out.
Yeah.
So if there's weird cuts again today, that just meant we went back to 2023 and storm season.
We got very lucky with all of that over the storm season last year. Like we said that multiple times, but I think that the power only went out one time that I recall.
I think it was twice that day.
Oh, twice in once.
But once in that whole thing.
Yeah.
And it was funny because I think we talked about then too. But real quick then. So Josh and I record using Zencaster, and we're having a conversation of, hey, so if my power goes out, what actually happens with the recordings? Because we had no idea, and we don't do like the Audacity sync-ups or anything anymore. And we did a little test, and I just killed the internet, whatever we did. And we're like, wow, it just saves everything. We lose like 10 seconds. So it's foolproof and stormproof or something along those lines.
Yeah, we have a robust recording solution now. Because back in the day, so we always didn't like the record the call over Skype or record the call over Discord or whatever program you're using. Because like I feel like every podcast did that at the time, and like one person always sounds good and the other person sounds like they're down a well or something.
Yeah, at some point, someone always goes robot. And then usually there's a conversation of like, hey, you sound like a robot. Say that again, or redo this part, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, so we would always do like local recordings that then we'd have to like figure out how to like remotely sync up, kind of, just by counting down. And then whoever's editing the podcast would have to like painstakingly line them up and then like make sure they stay in sync, which is also a big thing where like, for some reason, like mine would be a different speed than Toby's. So like, even if I sync them up at the beginning, by the time you get 2 hours into a podcast, it's like, oh, now I'm off by half a second. How did this happen? It's a nightmare. So it's wonderful that there are websites that do that for us now.
Yeah. Technology is advanced.
Truly has. I know that the Giant Bomb people, at least they go to like time.is and they all click record at the same time. So it's at least like remotely close when they start. But, we were long before that even.
So to go back a step.
Yeah.
So Josh and I bonded years and years and years ago over Giant Bomb.
Yeah.
And Giant Bomb is a website about video games, as like to call themselves, or at one point went through a shitload of staff rotations and splits and everything else. And one of the things that people bitched about them for a very long time is they learned how to do things once, all in the beginning of whatever technology came out, and they refused to do anything else ever to learn the new technology or do things easier or smarter or whatever. And for whatever reason, you saying they use time.is to click record together and have no other option or plan of how they're going to do the recordings synced up properly blows my mind, and also is 100% on brand.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I'm not sure if that is like their main solution or if that's just for like their backup recordings or something. It might be just backup stuff, but I've definitely seen them on stream using time.is before to like, do the sync up. But like they're very different now because they had this like insane turnover that there's really like no one left there that used to be there.
Yeah, pretty much.
When we were big fans. Now they seem insanely adventuresome and doing nuts things and filling bathtubs with macaroni and stuff. I don't know. They're just out there doing wild shit now, it feels like. But
I guess it's one thing you can do, since, I mean, again, like back when we started the first podcast years and years and years ago and everything else, all this shit was way more niche still, I feel like.
Definitely.
And now, like, I mean, we were probably one of hundreds or thousands of like tokusatsu podcasts, and the video game ones were like everywhere. Like you could throw a rock down the street and someone's doing a video game podcast. So I guess it kind of makes sense that now, like, since everyone does that, now they're doing mac and cheese tubs to like
totally.
You gotta stand back out again.
Yeah, I kind of respect it. Like I don't really keep up with a lot of their output anymore, and it's all crazy. But like from what I've seen, what I've heard, what I've read on the internet, it's like they're owned by Fandom now, and like they don't have any engineers to work on the website even, so it's like they can't even update their website or like do what they want to do on the website, so they just kind of have said fuck it and just do like streams and nonsense shit and like barely touch the website anymore. It's like, cool, like the ship's all going down, so you might as well like have a lot of fun while it does it, I guess. Like, I don't know.
Fandom, like the we live stream movies to theaters fandom.
Is it Fandom, or it's the company that does all the wikis? Is that, I think that's Fandom, right?
I don't know. Sure.
I will fact check this just a second. It's the company that everyone hates.
Amazon, Wikipedia, Apple, Microsoft,
it is
Sony.
It is Fandom. It's not the movie theater thing you're thinking of though, but it's the people who run, like, if you've ever been to a wiki specifically for like a video game or something, it's probably a Fandom wiki, and it's the ones that like hit you with like a zillion ads that you have to close and like auto plays video and sound, and you can't even read the page because it's all broken because all the ads and everything. That's Fandom pretty much.
Do you know a funny story?
Yeah.
Do you know who created Fandom?
No, who?
Like Jimmy Wales, the guy that made Wikipedia.
No, really?
Yeah. It's a privately held for-profit company that was founded in 2004 by Wikipedia co-founder Jimmy Wales and Angela Beasley.
All right. Well, Jimmy Wales made a good thing in Wikipedia and made a really shitty thing in Fandom.
I guess the Fandom's entertainment only, so I guess that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. Every time, like, people hate Fandom, and every time I've ever used it, my experience is, yes, it's like ad-ridden, slow, broken pages, just kind of terrible. I don't know. And then they bought up a bunch of like sites like Giant Bomb, and I don't know if that's been good or not either. like it's always hard to tell when things like that happen, like big purchases like that happen, because like they're usually not great. Usually, consolidation like that is usually not good in general, but like sometimes it's hard to suss out just how bad it is.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, that's who owns Giant Bomb now. Yeah, we, not to brag, but like we've been podcasting since the point when you had to like explain what a podcast was to someone when you were telling them about what you were doing. Like, that's wild to think about at this point. Like, everybody knows what a podcast is because like everybody's friend has a podcast about his stupid home microbrews he makes or something, right? And back when we first started, it was like a podcast. It's kind of like a radio show, but like just for the internet.
Pre-recorded.
Yeah, it has pod in the name, but you can listen to it on anything. It doesn't have to be just an iPod. Yeah, that's right. Yep, that's how it works.
It's crazy too, because like I don't even know if it's still called iTunes. I would assume so. Like the Apple.
It is not.
Okay, so I'd assume that. So I think it was the wrestling one. Like that was the point where when you went to just a topic like wrestling podcasts, I think you and I were listed on like the top 10 at least at one point, or top 15, because I took a screenshot of it.
There are like so few of them.
Yeah, like it was small enough where our dumb shit was actually ranked somewhere.
Yeah,
which seems wild too. Like
that's ridiculous. And now like podcasts are just big business, and they have giant ads, and Spotify pays Joe Rogan to say nonsense shit every week, and yay hail corporate, I guess.
No, listen, if Spotify called us and they were like, yo, we're paid to spout nonsense every week, if you fucking say no, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna come to your house.
It's funny you said that, because I literally just opened my mouth to say, now if Spotify paid me money, I would say yes in a heartbeat.
I love Spotify. What a great system. My year-end review was spectacular.
If Spotify comes knocking, I am selling out in a heartbeat. That's for sure. Good. Yeah, I don't have ads in the podcast though, so there's that. I guess that's good for right now. But yeah, totally. Spotify wants to give me $1 million. I'm there for it.
Josh says, I don't have ads on the podcast. And in 5 minutes is going to go, so if you subscribe to our Patreon, you get all sorts of things.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. Let's jump over to the emails because I don't have ads on the podcast, but our friend Charlie from Texas does have an ad on the podcast. Charlie sent in an email entitled Patreon ad. And there's a parenthetical at the beginning that says, this message is for the listeners of the podcast. Sorry, Josh and Toby, but this ain't for you.
Okay.
So Charlie goes on to say, in all caps, you guys should join the Patreon. But don't just take it from me. Listen to what some of the other patrons have to say about it. 5 stars. The Comment Writers Patreon is perhaps the best money you will ever spend as a toku fan. For the price of a bottle of water at Disneyland, not only do you get hours upon hours of content each month, but you also have access to the Discord server and all of the fun, awesome community that comes with it. That one's from the one sane person in that server. 5 stars. Back in 2013, I used to comment on these YouTube videos talking about how these guys won't stop talking so I can hear what's going on in the TV show, and now I'm paying for them. What have I become? Signed, also from that one sane person in the server.
My favorite is that's true.
Totally.
Only because, like, I know the one specific one that one's coming from, but when we used to do the Power Rangers thing that we do like on the Patreon, the amount of comments that we used to get on YouTube that were basically like, why won't you two shut the fuck up? I can't watch the episode. Used to be amazing.
People wanted us like just to be pirating Power Rangers instead of like being a transformative work over top of Power Rangers. Like, you guys could just steal Power Rangers somewhere else. Like, you don't have to be here. The next one is 5 stars. Would be a better show if Toby would remember even a single character name. That one comes from Josh Meek, the Uber Geek. Following up there is 5 stars. Would be a better show if Josh could pronounce words. That one is from Toby the Tobes? ? I guess ? I feel like he needs a the in his name.
Toby, professional reader, Tobes.
5 stars. The only podcast with worse puns than I have. That would sign Kieran, but then in parentheses, actually Toby pretending to be him. But don't tell the viewers.
It's funny because Kieran's one specifically that I think was the first one that bitched and said, "Why won't you guys stop talking?" And then has been around for a long time now.
then we won him over one by one.
Yeah, it works somehow.
Charlie also says there's a lot of fun moments, such as this interaction, and sends a screenshot from our Discord where I said, haha, I'll be McSteamy. And then he responded with no, just no. Yeah. Charlie says, anyway, you should join the Patreon. For only $1 a month, you get access to the Discord, and for $3 a month, you get access to exclusive content like Watch and Reacts and the Ramblecast. If you don't want to join the Patreon but still want to interact, that's okay. You can send Toby and Josh emails by sending them to cast@commonwritersucks.com. Charlie wrote a very wonderful ad there. That was beautiful. I have nothing further to add. I think that was great.
You did a good job, Charlie.
We also got a legit email to the email address cast@commonwritersucks.com. Not to say that Charlie's wasn't a legit email. We got an email that was a more traditional email, I guess I'll say, instead of a Patreon ad. So cast@commonwritersucks.com. This one comes in from our friend Shade. Shade says, thank God you guys figured stuff out on your own there. Talking about the spoilers from the movie that we talked about last time. Shade says, Toei was being so freaking weird with the information regarding their series, even more so in this season for some reason. With that being said, let's get to the rest of the announcements and some details from last time too. So we talked about it last time. We'll talk about it here this episode too, but we went to such great lengths to preface the spoiler that they just then put in the intro this episode. So not going to treat it as a spoiler anymore that Kudo becomes a Kamen Rider because now it's just in the intro. Hilarious that was, we spent so long trying to talk around it last time. And then it's just right there.
I mean, I guess we saved them a week before the mid-season ish switch up or whatever we want to call us now.
Yeah,
and I guess in theory, that's the way you get around if people didn't watch the movie because we weren't sure if like
you give it a week
how they were going to play it. We're like, the people don't watch the movie. What happens here? And the solution was the intro has Kudo doing a henshin with the two main boys, and then her in her fucking outfit later.
Yeah, totally. um, let's see. Shade says, first off, Kudo becoming a Kamen Rider is bigger news than you can even imagine because she is the first secondary female writer in the entire franchise. That's right, my friends. This is history that you are witnessing.
So the great Discord navigator and I were discussing this. Is that true? Because like, what was Neon then?
Yeah, so yeah, I agree. I think that because Neon was a writer from the beginning, but like, I guess we're not counting her as a secondary writer. I don't really know why. I feel like she counts as a secondary writer.
Like, it was Geet's show, and like
Yeah.
our half conversation was like Keiwa was the secondary.
Yeah, I guess you're counting Keiwa as a
Neon
secondary.
is tertiary, but they were all Kamen Riders.
Neon
it wasn't
and
like she had
would be tertiary. Yeah.
But it wasn't like they had special dumb names or anything. It wasn't like they weren't writers. And like,
and I feel like at the beginning it was Geets first, Keiwa second, the others third. But then as the series went on, I feel like Keiwa, Neon, and Buffo were all like pretty equal as far as where they were at. I don't know. I think there's a case to be made for Neon. I think she got her moment in the sun and wasn't really relegated off to the side too much, as far as that stuff goes.
Like I do think it's cool that, like, I mean, Kudo is pretty main in this, and that is cool. Like, if this is the first time ever, like, I'm glad they're moving forward, but I feel like it's happened in the same scale in other things we've watched, and I don't know if I agree with that statement necessarily.
Yeah, that's fair. Like there have been other like women writers in the past too. Like, a lot of times they'll like become a writer at the very end. Like in Kamen Rider Geo, they have Tsukuyomi, she's with them the whole show, and she is the kind of like badass woman who like sort of is like pseudo in charge, who's kind of telling the other guys what to do, but then doesn't become a writer until like the very end of the series, and she finally then gets to henshin. So like, this is as if she had become a writer very early on instead of waiting until the very end. So that's an improvement. I like that. I certainly, I think in maybe a few years ago, I don't think Kudo would have ever become a writer. So I'm happy to see she gets to do that now, because it makes a lot of sense for the story.
Definitely helps
her to become one. Yeah. Shade says that her Kamen Rider name is Kamen Rider Majade. Majade, I think is how we're going to pronounce that, because I think as Shade says, the jade is taken from the gemstone.
See, now we're down to 4.5 stars because Josh still can't say words. This is why my review is so accurate.
No one has said that out loud in the show to me yet, so I don't know how they pronounce it in the show. I'm just reading it here in text. I don't know. I gotta wait till they say it in the show.
Okay.
That's not gonna help me either. That's not gonna help me. Shade says she transforms with the unicorn and the sun chemis that we see in the episode we're talking about today, 17.
So,
by the way,
real quick, looking on KamenRider.fandom.com
yep.
on Kudo's page, it has when they sound it out for you.
Yeah.
The phonetic
it's
spelling
either
of it.
Majade or Majade, I would imagine. But go ahead.
So the Maj part is normal. The E has the line across the top of it, and then just do at the end. Majido? I don't know.
I'm so glad you brought up phonetic spellings so you could point out that neither of us know how they work.
Well, no, I feel like it's not the right thing then, because spelling it phonetically is just actually sounding it out. But whenever they put like the freaking like whatever that's called, and they put the language clues on the letters.
I know what you're talking about, and I don't remember what they all mean. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I think the E over the end is like a long E, maybe.
Majido.
No, I don't think that's it.
Because
oh, he seems so stupid now.
I like when we go on these tangents, because even if it only just entertains you and me, I don't really care now. Jot. Oh wait. Okay. Yeah. I copied and pasted. Look in Discord. Like,
all right.
It's Kamen.
Oh, it is. I think it is Majido. You're right. Oh my god.
See, yeah. Fuck off.
Gino. Here, pronunciation symbols. We're gonna figure out they're called phonetic symbols. Okay. We want to
Wait, so
look at an E with a line over the top, right?
yeah,
Oh my god, there's so many of them. Why are there so many of them?
because
Okay.
English is a stupid language.
It's a long vowel.
So
So
it's
that would be E, right?
yeah, like but I need like E as in like feed
E,
or E as in
feed.
fed.
Yeah,
What?
those are the two options for E, fed or feed. And I think in this case, then it'd be feed with the line over the top.
Yeah. So Majito.
Magito.
They need to say it in the fucking show. All right, let's.
Yeah. Wait. Shade says, by the way, side note, the moment where Hokuto summoned the effing sun was so hilarious. Yeah, just go slap this in the little device, summon the sun, no big deal. Anyways, another announcement was made, and it's the Kamen Rider Gotchard Hyper Battle Video Special. The special will be a Freaky Friday situation between Kudo and Hotaro. So the little trailer for this
That's a dream come true for Hodoro, probably.
subbed. I think so. Yeah, I think so. I don't think they're going to get into that aspect of the Freaky Fridayness, though. That's always you always have to gauge what what rating your Freaky Friday show is to decide if you're going to get into the like, okay, you're going to have to go to the bathroom at some point, and that's going to get weird, you know.
Always does.
Always does. We watched a movie. I can't remember the name of it. It was some dumb movie that is it really worth me remembering the name of, to be honest. But it was one of those like holiday movies that's on Netflix that are just like interchangeable. But it had like a Freaky Friday element to it where all the family members got switched into other family members' bodies. And it was completely forgettable, except for one scene after they get switched where they do like a real funny gag on the fact that this happens in so many movies. And they're like, this has never ever happened before. I can't believe it. This is a completely original situation. And like the one dad who is a kid became the father, is in the father's body. He was like, yeah, no one ever woke up and then was just big suddenly. And like, so basically they go through every Freaky Friday-esque movie and do a quick reference to it. And that was good. Other than that, movie was shitty, but that one thing was good. But yeah, I watched the trailer for the Freaky Friday Hyper Battle special. It seems very fun, and it actually has like seemingly more plot than those often do. So that seems cool to check out. It seems like maybe the other characters are also acting differently than normal. I don't know if they've been Freaky Friday'd as well, but we'll see. Shade says, regarding our new and mysterious orange friend, his official name is Kamen Rider Gotchard Daybreak. Along with him, our new Daybreak variants of the Chemicards, which are basically fire Chemicards. The character is voiced by Daigo Naito, who previously played Ultraman Zero in the Ultraman Saga movie. Many people were Ultraman Zero, so I had to clarify. Since there's only news about the actor doing voice work for Gotchard Daybreak, I think it's safe to assume that we won't be seeing him out of the suit anytime soon, or maybe this could be a Kekara situation. A very interesting fact about Gotchard Daybreak, though, despite a ton of things like Legend or the X Chemi form was being leaked way before its debut, Gotchard Daybreak, for some reason, was the most well-kept secret in Gotchard because nobody heard anything about this. None of it leaked. Everyone was genuinely surprised by it. With this, we conclude the chapter in Gotchard's story and start a new one. For the new chapter, we'll be getting a new version of the opening theme, which we heard in episode 17 here.
Yes, it's very good. I was very hyped because it's even better than the last one, even though it's basically the same song, but it's better than the last one.
I agree. Yeah, it's the same. It's like a second verse essentially of the same song, or like the same song, but like just different lyrics. But like the rap is like way more fire than it was before. And yeah, I agree. I think it's better.
That person's name is Flo. That's hilarious, isn't it? Or Glow?
Flo, yeah. So Shade talks about it a bit more. It says, back on, we'll be collaborating with another band called Flo for a new version of Chem X Story. Chemistry.
Yes.
We love trying to pronounce the name of this song. From my sources, we'll also be getting an official English and Chinese version of the original theme. Man, that's so cool. We haven't had an official English version of an opening theme since 7 years ago. Wow, that's pretty cool.
That's a very long time.
We should record a karaoke version of it, like you and me singing it when it comes out.
Hell no.
We should do it. Finally, I want to talk a little bit about Toby's weird point from the end of last episode. I can't wait to find out what this is about.
There's so many.
I think we can all agree that Gotchard didn't make a very good first impression on people, myself included. The pacing of the story was very weird, and you could tell the actors are trying to get comfortable in their role. There were some highlights here and there, though, especially around episode 5, which was positively received, probably because of wrestling and Kamen Rider fandoms have a lot of crossovers. Yeah, that's probably true. But now I do think Gotchard is getting better and better now. It's just sad how the start turned so many people off on the series. In fact, this whole situation reminds me of an older time in Kamen Rider. It was the sweet year of 2014. Kamen Rider Gaim, like Geats, was a dramatic story of young heroes challenging a higher power and the concept of destiny itself. When it ended, what followed was Kamen Rider Drive, and people freaking hated it. Going from fruit samurai dueling each other for the fate of the world to a guy with a wheel on his chest solving crimes with superpowered Hot Wheels is a big change. But eventually, Drive got more serious, and people started to pay more attention to the show. Nowadays, Drive is a pretty highly regarded show, and I'm willing to bet people are going to look at Gotchard in a different light in the future, too. I don't know if it'll reach Drive's level of status, but I know for a fact that it's not going to be the worst Kamen Rider series ever. That title belongs to Saber. Sorry, not sorry. Okay, bye. Yeah, Saber's the reason that I fell off of the whole fandom for a while, because I bounced off of Saber so hard. It was just, I did not enjoy Saber. But
so we will not be watching that later. That's what I'm hearing.
It's certainly not going to be high on the list that I vote for. I don't know. Maybe it gets better. I didn't give it too long. Like I did fall off pretty hard, but it was just not what I was looking for out of a Kamen Rider. I'm liking Gotchard. But all right, so Toby, we'll jump over to talk about the episode now, episode 17, because we talked about the first piece, which is we got a whole brand new theme, and I think first point of discussion, let's talk about everything that's changing with Kamen Rider Gotchard. I think that is that's sort of the theme here. We saw it last episode where the big villain Garyon was revealed and said, hey, we've got fun in store for you next year. And then this year we're opening up with new intro, new theme, tons of new plot points that are happening in this episode. So stuff stemming from the movie, but then also like new villains being introduced and big twists and turns happening. So we talked about this in the Discord a little bit, so I wanted to talk about it on the show too. I think that this is really like, I know, lots of shows have like a new arc and stuff, but this feels very intentional to try to draw in some of those people that maybe fell off the show, like we talked about at the beginning.
All those OG shades, they want them back. Exactly.
Yeah, this feels like, especially they did a little like side video with the Abyssal Sisters, which felt very much like them saying, okay, this is kind of what happened so far, but like things are going to be all different now. You guys should all check it out. Like if you want to catch up on it, like go sign up for the TTFC and then you can jump in and you'll be here for the fun, new, cool stuff.
I actually watched it this time because just in case this conversation came up, I found that video to be the stupidest thing ever.
Fair enough.
So I watched a little bit of it, and then they're like, it was basically the actresses talking to each other in character but out of character.
Yeah.
And just like, because they're like, man, you really got your butt kicked in episode 15. You like showing your belly off a lot. Yeah, but look at this OG storyboard original outfit design. And like, ooh, your stomach's covered up. What made you change your mind? And just too much dumb shit like that for me.
Yeah, I'm not saying it was great, but like, especially towards the end of it, the vibe was definitely like, please watch the show. Things are changing. Like they like showed a picture of like the creators of Kamen Rider, and like they say things are going to be new and different or whatever. Yeah, so like, I think that was the intended goal, to kind of rope some people back in, and it feels that way. I think at the beginning of this episode, like. They're trying to make it fresh. They're trying to make it new. Like, hey, you saw there's a new orange Gotchard, right? You should come and see who he's about. And Look at these other two riders. Here they are. Have you seen them before? No? Huh, weird, crazy. Better keep
I
watching.
think it's silly that, like, again, we kind of talked about it last time, so we won't talk about it too much. But, like, we're 17 episodes in. Even if, like, you caught the vibe now of, like, hey, we refreshed it, you still have to sit through 16 episodes of the bad stuff you didn't like in the first place. Like, it just seems like it doesn't work like this to me. To, like,
Well,
get people to come
it's
back.
only 16 episodes, not like 30.
I mean, I guess.
Stuff.
Yeah.
I don't
it's
know.
only it's only 5 hours you have to watch ahead of time before it gets good.
Toby, I currently am here. I can tell you an exact number. Let's get a real value here for my distaste. I am currently about 7.5 hours into a 9-hour book that I hate. This book's terrible, but I'm far enough along in now that I'm gonna see it through just to spite this stupid friggin' book. So people will do that.
Okay, that's fair.
It's a thing. It's a thing. Yeah, it just keeps getting worse. Toby. Every time I listen, it just keeps getting worse. But jumping into Kamen Gotchard, which keeps getting better. Let's talk about what happens here in this episode. So first up, we are in the Abyssal Sisters hideout with the newly revealed boss, I guess, Girion, and he is working on creating some amalgams, and this is wholly upsetting. So he gets a new Kemi card from one of the sisters, which is like Nimine Moon, like a moon Kemi, and he then pulls out from this like weird dimensional hole what looks to be like a voodoo doll, and it's explained that it's one of the older brothers of the sisters, who was basically like so bad that they had to be hidden away. And he combines the Kemi card and the voodoo doll and some gold, and he creates amalgam using those things.
I thought it was funny because that's like the throwing the little figurines in X figurine holder reminded me of OG Power Rangers when Rita used to make things out of clay and throw the clay in the oven and then it turned into a monster. The same vibe.
I'm so glad you got that, because the second he pulled out the little doll, I was like, it's Finster. He's doing the Finster thing. Yeah. That's awesome. I'm glad you picked up on that too. Yeah, I totally felt like that's going to be what his thing is. It's just like he's going to make little creations. I hope we don't have to find out more about the brothers. That seems upsetting. I don't want to know more about them.
I feel like we have to, because then it'll make the sisters do extra bad things, or maybe turn around down the road and be like, "You're messing with our family. We've had enough."
Yeah, I think the sisters have a redemption arc in this series. I've decided this episode. I think that the sisters turned good at some point.
And that's why they were so much fun in the New Year's Eve spectacular.
Yeah, exactly. And they've started like giving them a little bit of human traits, like, you know, even Atropos, the little one who's like mostly mean. They made her seem a little more human when she was interacting with Kudo. Yes, I think that that's my current prediction, is that they will see them kind of do a flip and become good at some point. I thought this moon-based amalgam, was hideous. I got the ick looking at it. I didn't want to look at it anymore. The weird mouth with the little feely teeth that point in,
and the belt strapped through his mouth, and
I
thought it was cool. It was very horror movie, scary game vibe, so it was cool.
It was, yeah. It specifically the weird like floaty phalange teeth thing was the thing that was like, I just couldn't. Oof! It was too much. I couldn't look at him. I didn't want to keep looking at him, and then he stuck around for the whole episode. It was very off-putting for me. And then, of course, next up we get another pretty shocking scene. Minato, the professor, walks into the classroom, and who is there but the evil Girion himself, who's been waiting for Minato. And Girion says, "It's been a while." So clearly he's been there before. Maybe he was a prior student. Who knows? But the two of them are basically face to face now.
Old friends reunited.
Seemingly so, from what we find out later. And then we cut over to the kiddies. So Hodoro is serving his friends at the family restaurant. We have a cute little scene of them deciding to eat Hodoro's food even though it's too spicy. um, but Hodoro is left. He's off on his own because he had to go get a delivery.
At one point, they make the comment, joke, whatever, because like he made all the foods because it was supposed to be like, hey, Happy New Year's, here's all the best foods that you can eat for like prosperity and good luck and everything else.
Uh-huh.
One of them said, gotta eat them all. Do you think that's a direct Pokemon quote?
Ooh, maybe. It might be. It's either that or it's like a
very on
like
the nose.
A gotcha quote, yeah. But yeah, it's probably a Pokemon reference, I would guess. I guess the big question is, does Pocket Monsters also say gotta catch them all in Japan?
That's a good question.
I'm assuming that it does, but
yeah, I mean, if it's not like with like the day we figured out that the names are close with the puns and everything else.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's something close. If it's not that literal phrase, I'm sure it's extremely close.
Yeah. Must obtain all of the animals. Hodoro, when he's out on his little delivery, of course, as expected, finds the Amalgam, tries to fight him, and it doesn't go super well. And our new friend Gotchard Daybreak shows up, and Daybreak is a tough guy, fights away the Amalgam, and basically he kind of lectures Hodoro, kind of says like yeah, you're not gonna be able to handle this guy yourself. Also, P.S. You're gonna be in the middle of something pretty bad pretty soon, so it's gonna make you lose faith in someone you trust. Just keep an eye out for that. So Gotchard knows the future, I guess. Gotchard Daybreak.
Pokemon's Japanese slogan is "Get Pokemon." Just for the record.
Gotta catch them all. Get Pokemon. That feels like the people who did the Got Milk campaign then went to Japan. I was like, listen, you got Pokemon? We got a slogan for you. Get Pokemon. That's terrible. I guess score one for the rest of the world.
Yeah, we did it.
Let's see. So yeah, Orange Gotchard lecturing Hodoro. Do you have a guess yet at who Gotchard Daybreak is?
So I feel like they hammered it home with later in the episode when he saves Kudo.
Yeah, I think so.
And
too.
he calls her, I guess, like
he calls her Rene first, which would be like her her first name, her actual like first name, and then he corrects himself to Kudo, right?
Yeah, and it was when she specifically was about to get fucked up. He appeared like a flash and saved her, and then got really like coy and shy about it.
Yeah.
So I'm 99% sure it's going to be her dad, but I mean they could swerve it and just pretend like they cared or whatever else. But who knows?
Yeah, I think this episode cemented that it's the dad for me for sure.
This episode also cemented for me that Mr. Daybreak there all the time, his go-to saying is, you'll have two choices, because he says it like he said it one time in that last episode, and it seemed like a cool thing. Like, you got two choices, kid. Like, man up or go quit or do whatever you gotta do. This one he's like, you have two choices: trust or don't trust. You have two choices: go fight more or go fight less, but something bad might happen. And he says it like a bunch of times.
Yeah, totally. It is clearly his catchphrase. It actually reminded me of AJ Styles, the wrestler, because there was a point in when he was in TNA that he's tried to use a catchphrase where he would give his big promo, and then he would say like, and there's two things you can do about it: nothing or like it. And it was so dumb. And every time he would say it, I'd be like, well, it's a good promo up until he tried to hit the catchphrase. And I feel like that catchphrase lasted maybe like a month, and then he stopped using it. But clearly it's stuck with me now for like 10 years. But every time he says like, "Well, you have two choices," that's the only thing I can think about is AJ Styles and TNA.
Perfect.
Which really is my own cross to bear. I feel like. um, let's see. Other exciting things that happen this episode. We find out more about Spanner's professor, who is really more of like a mom figure. We find out. So he goes to visit her again. She's about to collapse because she hasn't been eating because she's been working on her research. So they get some food together and they start chatting. And yeah, find out,
Spanner cooks again because we have to hammer home that Hodoro can't cook still with his friends. And his fake mom was like, "I'm so hungry." And Spanner's like, "I'll whip up this delicious treat." And then she just mixes the food randomly together. And he's like, "You're really not supposed to be doing this." And she's like, "Just give it a chance. It's good." And they like kid pal around, like little hugs, like, "Oh, I love you, mom," kind of jokes. And
except he's so offended about the food mixing, though. He's like, "No, this is a ridiculous flavor."
He's a pro chef.
He is, yeah. But we find out that, there was some incident that had happened 10 years ago where the professor had saved his life and had basically been raising him as a son since then. She says she raised him until he became an A-rank alchemist, but then she like expresses regret basically about getting him mixed up in all the stuff they're mixed up in.
Because there is a lot of crazy bullshit that happens in that kid's life, so that seems fair.
That's true. Yeah, he is in harm's way, let's say. And we also find out too that the reason that they're keeping an eye on Kudo is because they think her dad is not actually a traitor. So they know that the Alchemy Alliance is evil, essentially. It seems like what they're saying, and they know that actually Kudo's dad is not really a traitor. And they're going to seemingly assist him whenever he comes back to light. So we wondered last episode sort of what side they're on, and it made it very clear this time around that they seem like the good guys.
Yeah.
I thought they're a little like playful, like eating relationship and stuff like that. I thought it was very cute. I thought that they like made a good pair last episode, and then when they really hammer home the like parent son situation with them, I thought that it was pretty adorable. They even teased Spanner about being in a slump. I liked that. It was pretty funny.
Like, he's doing okay. He'll get it back.
She's not wrong though. He's in a bit of a slump. Spanner heads out to go find the rest of the kids. He gets an alert, and he runs into the professor, and we cut away very quickly. Meanwhile, the rest of the gang are looking for the Amalgam who's been hiding in shadows. They eventually suss out the correct shadow.
Hodoro that whole part was the best thing because they were like, they're all just laying on the floor or like laying on the concrete basically, and they're like, "No, this one hasn't moved. We were here all day." And then I guess to like hammer home one last time that she will be a Kamen Rider, Kudo's like, "Well, I can't transform, or I can't use, or I'm not a Kamen Rider, but I can still use chemis." And then she sprinkled hot sauce basically in the shadow, and the Moon Man got very mad.
She specifically said, I think the wording was like, "I still can't do alchemy, but I can." Yeah, like she's like, "I still can't do alchemy." So I don't know, like because she said that last episode too, when she was kind of telling Hodoro that she would fight beside him. She kind of said like, "Well, I'm still a little too tired to do alchemy, but like I'll fight beside you." And she's saying it again here. So I don't know. I guess they just are deciding like, "Yeah, we'll give you a couple weeks until we actually show her transformed." But like clearly it's coming.
Yeah, because I mean, like, if nothing else, now we've seen it in the intro. Like
how incredible would it be, Toby? Hear me out.
If they never do it,
if they never do it, if they put it in the intro and it was in the movie, and we go for like 20 more episodes, and she's just like, not today, just not feeling it.
It would be hilarious. Only like also tied to the fact that I guess we'll call it last year. I kept yelling for Geets like I want the goddamn gun scene from the intro that took almost the entire year to get.
Yep.
So they should do. That'd be the perfect swerve. Just do the opposite this year. Like everyone thinks like, oh, if it was in the intro, it's going to happen. Like they did it last year. All the crazy shit's going to go down. and like she just literally never henshins, and like never show the outfit again and everything else.
I would be very sad from like a show perspective and from a character perspective because I really love her and stuff. But like from a troll perspective, people would lose their minds and I would laugh so hard if it just never happened. But yeah, I think it'll happen soon. But yeah, they're clearly like giving the movie a little bit more space before they show it off in the show. Like that really was what it feels like to me. Like I don't know, come up with an excuse so she doesn't transform for like one more week before we give it away for free. Again, back to wrestling. It's like a wrestling pay-per-view. You don't have your wrestling show on Sunday and then show all the best clips on Monday. You give it like a couple weeks before you start showing it all on free TV so that people start buying the replay, you know.
Let it breathe. Let it breathe.
You got to let it breathe, man. Hodoro shows up and, you know, is going to try to fight the Amalgam again, but then he remembers that the Gotchard Daybreak said he couldn't do it. He tries really hard and he goes UFO X. He tries the X Rex situation. None of it really works out. And then finally, yeah, this is the point where the Gotchard Daybreak shows back up, saves Kudo, has his awkward interaction with Kudo. and yeah, then we very quickly go over to meet up with Spanner and Minato. Toby, why don't you run down what's happening between Spanner and Minato? Tell us what's going on over here.
They were screaming at each other. Spanner had his cool little sword of destiny out, and Minato was just standing there like as deadpan as possible, and basically told everyone like, "Yeah, just so you know, the school decided that you kids don't know what the hell you're doing. Chemis can no longer be trusted with you. They have a new game plan. The baby metal sisters stroll in alchemist outfits or like school uniforms instead." And he basically said like, "You're going to give me all your cards, or I'm going to like basically like destroy you." And Hodoro one last time, or at least one last time today, goes, "No, but I want to be all their friends. You can't do this to me. I don't want my mind wiped." And they all get all temper tantrumy about they're gonna erase our minds. They're gonna do this, and eventually, Spanner saves them all like the hero he is.
Yeah, that I did not expect the Minato swerve here. Do you think that he is being like mind controlled? Like, is he taken over by the bad guy, by Garion, or by these sisters? Like, or is this Minato acting of his own volition?
So my note for this is the little one just doing the mind thing to him, since we know it takes her no effort whatsoever and everything else. Obviously, they would have had to get close enough to do it, with some, which I guess takes some other shenanigans off scene that we never saw, or off screen that we never saw. But it seems, I guess it works both ways. Either they will reveal that he secretly was the bad guy all the time, or just the evil kids are mind controlling him to get cards a different way and get the common riders out of the picture.
Yeah, she's done the mind control thing very effortlessly, but she's also like never done it to like a strong alchemist before. Like I feel like the logic of things like this are oftentimes like, yeah, I can do it to a rube, but I can't do it to someone who like can actually fight back and actually knows what they're doing. So it would surprise me, I guess, if she could very easily mind control him, but maybe she can. Who knows? Maybe she's very powerful.
Yeah. Small but mighty.
Yes, indeed. When they walked up in the outfits, that was like, whoa, like things are happening here.
I thought it was just extra funny just because of that small clip of the New Year's show that I watched when the one sister said to the other, "Oh, your stomach's always showing." And now she's in an outfit that she's covered up.
Yeah, I can't see her stomach. Yeah, which is great. Maybe that's the whole solution. There's the joke. I thought Minato, I thought the actor did a fantastic job here. Just being like stone cold, just like just completely stone faced. And then yeah, I don't think you mentioned, but that he even turns into Kamen Rider Dread. So he he henshins and becomes dread, and is seemingly not bothered by it like Sabi was when he was henching. He let the crazy spines come and attach themselves to him without really any issue. So
He was
yeah,
dread all along.
maybe. So yeah, it clearly like something had happened in the old classroom with Garion. Probably easy money is on he has leverage over Minato somehow, or he's mind controlling Minato in some way. But certainly interesting. I'm really excited to find out where that goes.
New year, new vibe.
It also, I don't know if you noticed, kind of looked like Minato had been crying a little bit, like his eyes were sort of red in the scene, which
Are
is maybe,
you are you seeing what you want to see?
maybe, maybe, maybe.
Okay, so I'm clicking around. The one shot, they maybe look sad. But again, like, I can't tell if that's what he always looked like. Or if we're just putting that on the thing now, like, on the inside, he knows what he's doing, he just doesn't like it.
Yeah, it could be any of those things, which is the cool thing about it. I also really liked in that little scene that like they'd done a really good job thus far setting up the stakes of having your mind wiped, and like these kids were all genuinely terrified about the mind wipe portion. It wasn't just losing the chemis, it wasn't just that their teacher had like stabbed them in the back. It was like, oh god, like I don't want to lose my all my memories. I don't want to forget my friends. I don't want to forget everything from school so far. uh so that that felt like it hit with a little bit more power than it otherwise would have, because they had done a very good job of making that seem very bad to have happen.
I was gonna say, like, it would have been weeks and weeks ago at this point. We had the conversation of how many times were they going to hammer home the mind wipe thing? And I guess this would be the payoff. They showed the sadness when people lose their friends and forget the little needle cactus guy and everything else. So the kids know well enough, like, oh shit, this isn't good when this happens, and reacted accordingly.
Totally. Yeah, definitely. And that pretty much wraps up the episode. So we have a lot of new questions that we're asking. Who is Gotchard Daybreak? What's up with Minato? What's up with the Abyssal Sisters? Are they actually going to be students here now? What's that whole deal? What's up with Garion? There's a lot going on. When will Kudo feel like henching? So many questions.
And then real quick too, like the last like 2-second shot was Girion standing in the alchemy school, like watching on the monitor everything going down, like right in front of the chemi card boxes. So he's definitely still in there. This is like his new home.
Yeah. It seems like they're like setting up as that's their base now. Like kick all the kids out. They're not allowed in here anymore. And then we're just gonna have the evil guy hang out in there now with his new minion Minato.
Whatever works.
Yeah, it's exciting. Definitely breathing some life into the second half here of Gotchard. There's some interesting stuff going on. I think they were right. Exciting things in the new year.
Dear God.
All right. Any other final thoughts, Toby?
No, I think we could like. This was one of those episodes that were like the key points were short but like heavily addressed, and then a lot of it was just the fighting that it's hard to talk about just the fighting parts week after week because it's just a fight.
Yeah, definitely. Especially these where like you sort of had Gotchard Daybreak say like, yeah, this isn't going to work out for you. So you knew the fighting was like kind of pointless anyway.
Yeah, and then
they kind of explained. Yeah. One other thing I'm interested in that we got a little hint at was the like 10 years ago thing that had happened where the professor had to take in Spanner. So like, what was that encounter? What was that whole conflict? It left a big scar on her arm. It'll be interesting if we get anything about that fleshed out too, because there's potentially a lot of world building that they can still do here with some of the little hints that they've made.
Yeah, like that seems to be like that'll be the next step. We're gonna expand out the story, cover a bunch of the past stuff, and then go from there.
Yeah, interesting stuff. All right, well, that is gonna wrap it up for us for episode 17. Toby, why don't you tell the people where they can find you on the internet?
On Twitter, it's Life of Tobes, and on YouTube, it's Tobes Plays.
I am on YouTube at Pretty Dece. And you can also find me in most places at Pretty Decent Josh. That's Twitter and Threads and various places. At some point, I'll figure out what my Mastodon is and say that too. But social media is weird right now. I did though. However, Toby, change my Blue Sky account. So if you want to follow me on Blue Sky, I am at meek.lol. So go check that out. And that's going to do it for us. We will be back next week for episode 18 when that comes around. Of course, as Charlie mentioned up at the top, check out the Patreon if you are so interested. Patreon.com/the Comment Writers. $3 a month, get that bonus content. $1, get it into the Discord. Come hang out. We're clearly all a bunch of crazy people. You need to be a part of that too. And sending those emails to cast@commonwritersucks.com. But yeah, we'll be back next time. We hope you join us for that as well. And until then, have a great week, everybody. Peace.